Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Megyn Kelly gives a brilliant answer, even as this student proves time and time again that he doesn't really understand what he has to say. Let's dive in.
Know why you support a president who contributes to the rhetoric that got your friend Charlie killed. We saw his rally recently. He said, "I hate my enemies." Stephen Miller said similar things. How can you support him when he contributed to what got Charlie killed?
Assumes facts, not in evidence. What you said is not true.
70% of political violence is committed by Republicans.
Okay.
Look it up.
That's not true
DOJ
either.
just pulled it. The DOJ just pulled it from their website. DOJ just pulled the study from their website because they're delusional.
That's not true because
They just pulled it. Look it up.
Once you
the
pull
DOJ pulled it from their website.
Once you pull the crazies out of there, it is overwhelmingly left-wing violence.
Google it.
We have had
Every single person in the
understand.
audience, Google it right now.
You know, this is how we get here. So first of all, let me take on the first part of the premise of your question, that it was President Trump's rhetoric that led to an assassin killing our friend Charlie Kirk. That's a blatant lie. It's a defamatory blaspheme, and it's inappropriate in this setting.
That's not what I said.
We know. Yes, it is.
No, I said he contributed to the political atmosphere.
Well, then you have no point.
tension.
Then your point is utterly empty. Contributing to the atmosphere.
This
guy was, no, let's just make clear. This guy was motivated by leftist ideology. We know it from the bullet casings. We know it from the Utah governor. We know it from his own mother. Yes, we do. Let's be really clear on that.
Even if that's true, so then you're saying because, let's say this guy's a leftist, even if that's true, does that make it okay for the sitting president of the United States to incite violence against liberals?
The President of the United States has not accepted violence against liberals. The President of the United States made a joke at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which was funny and self-deprecating. It was on the heels of Erica Kirk saying she, in an extraordinary moment, forgave her husband's killer.
He
And let me finish. And then President Trump got up and making a joke, playing off of what Erica said. He said, "We disagree. I need to do better. Erica's going to try to convince me, but I'm in a different place." And that's completely normal for a politician to be thinking about his political fights. And by the way, Trump has every right to loathe his enemies. They tried to put him in jail for the rest of his life. They tried to bankrupt him.
Rightfully so.
They tried to put
He's
his
a
family
criminal.
in jail.
He's a
And they
criminal.
tried to kill him.
Criminal. Jack
wait.
Smith.
Wait. Okay, now you go.
Thank you for your time.
Y'all, that's cult-like behavior. This kid is exhibiting cult-like behavior. And I can almost guarantee you how we got to this point. This kid has been reading news from Reddit, or maybe from Tumblr, maybe from Blue Sky, maybe even from Facebook or Twitter. Even though Twitter has been thankfully captured by Elon Musk and returned to some set of normalcy. But this kid got his information from a headline and probably is a part of some sort of Discord server and is probably active in it because his whole life he's been questioning his own narratives, and now that he's in college, he's been able to act out against what he has been taught. Folks, I am here to tell you, you aren't teaching your children. Okay, let that sink in for just a moment. You did not teach your kids anything. This is not an insult. This is not me being mean. This happened in my own life. I've been able to recognize it because my parents did not teach me my own value set, which people would then go, wait a minute, that's impossible. What are you talking about? You learned all your best lessons from your parents. Really? I got my lessons from PBS. I got my lessons from my elementary school teachers. I got my lessons from the books I read. And then, when our family finally got the internet back in 2007, it took us a while because we didn't want to be on that because we knew there was going to be a whole lot of nonsense on there. Turns out my parents were right on that one. But they didn't understand that I was learning things outside of our own little bubble. And most of America's youths, from the age 40 on down to the students of today, are not learning things from their parents. They are learning from their schools. They are learning from the internet. They are learning from social media. They aren't learning, and I also have to call out some religion here. We're not learning anything in church either. The reason I'm being so harsh on this is because I see this student and it terrifies me, because it's the same mindset that possessed Tommy Robinson. It is the same mindset that possesses so many leftists today. And here's the kicker. Here's the worst part, I think, of the whole thing. They make better arguments than we do. I'll repeat. They make better arguments than we do. They shouldn't, because we, more often than not, have more basis in truth than they do. But they hear an argument that makes sense to them, they let their feelings get in the way of some rationale, and lo and behold, all of a sudden, poof, you now have a rabid leftist. All because good arguments were not made to begin with. So let's actually deal with his claims, and I think Megyn Kelly did a pretty good job of dealing with the Trump claim, so let's talk about that one briefly, and then I'll get into the real meat of what I have to say here. The Trump claim that Trump is inciting violence. In the speech that he gave at Charlie Kirk's memorial, at first glance, I was a little horrified, and it reminded me of my Never Trumper days. And then I remember, wait a minute, he's poking fun at himself for not having enough forgiveness in his own heart, and he's admitting in front of a camera that he needs to do better. By the way, when a politician does that, take note. Because when they're doing that, they're actually being vulnerable. It is rare for a politician these days to be vulnerable, because when you do, you are inviting threats to rise up against you. By definition, that's what you're doing. That's why Democrats don't ever apologize for anything, because they don't want to appear weak. Mitt Romney, however, would do that. John McCain would do that. And those are not the people in the that are in the zeitgeist, so to speak, right now. We don't care about those politicians. We care about the ones that are winning. And so Trump is being a little bit vulnerable here and admitting that he not only is he not right all the time, he's not even doing the right thing some of the time, and he needs to do better himself. So that's the claim right there. Megyn Kelly did a pretty good job of that. But there's something else that this student brought up that is technically the truth. And the best article I can find on it, unfortunately, I could not find it again. But it came from the Center for Strategic and International Studies. I was looking this up this weekend because I was trying to rework how they get to this conclusion that all these data sets, all of these think tanks come to the same conclusion, that anywhere between about 85 and 55% of political violence, and remember, terrorism is politically motivated violence, all right? Politics plus violence. Easy equation right there. But all of these organizations keep coming out with similar numbers, that it's actually the right wing that is more violent, even though we've been seeing an exponential rise on the left. And this student explains exactly how this is happening. They're looking at all these data sets, and so in order to rework people who have wrong beliefs, you actually need to admit that they have some leg to stand on. Say, yes, as a matter of fact, you are bringing up correct numbers. So let's take a look at the data. In these articles, and there were a ton of them on this site, but the best one I found for the Center for Strategic and International Studies, that about 57% of political violence comes from the right, and 43, and secondly less than 43, comes from the left. And they gave the right wing 3 different categories, and they only gave the left wing 2. And funny, when I looked into that, I immediately thought, wait a minute, they're missing something. They're missing a third massive category they have just sort of shuffled away. They didn't list the BLM riots anywhere in the study. They did not exist, according to the CSIS. And here's the reason why they did. I'll actually defend them briefly. Because the Summer of Love riots were not organized, they were not directed, they just happened. And these violent outbursts just happened. They don't tend to target, they didn't target government buildings, they didn't target personal politicians, they didn't have any particular target. Meanwhile, folks like Antifa definitely do. And that's why Antifa got their own designation, and eco-terrorism got their own designation. There wasn't any for racially motivated left-wing violence. And so that's a funny thing to leave out, and I understand why they did, but you throw that in there, the numbers invert. And that's why this kid is speaking in half-truths. He got this line from somewhere, most likely on Reddit, and instead of properly investigating it, he took it as truth because it goes with the narrative that he has now found as the absolute reality. That Donald Trump is the one inciting violence and not the insane and insipid leftists that are worried that they're going to lose power for a long time, and they should be worried. And instead of having some introspection and wondering, wait a minute, did we screw something up? No, it's the other people that are wrong. That's the fundamental problem here. And again, this kid is exhibiting cult-like behavior because now he's getting new information that his parents probably used to talk about, or that his family, or maybe his church, I don't know if he's religious or not, used to talk about. And the argument is being prepared better this time. And now this kid is just screaming into the wind saying, no, you're wrong, I'm right, because my cult tells me I'm right. This is what terrifies me about the whole situation, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Again, I apologize that I could not find the proper article to give you here. I love it when I can, but I could not find it. After a couple of hours of searching, I could not find this article again. But it comes from the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Hope you enjoyed the segment on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.